You have questions, we have answers. This is Jay Miller.
And this is Ken Miller. Welcome to our show, all about real estate with Ken and Jane. Today, we have as our special guest, Dorothy Bellis. She's the Compliance Director and Manager of ReMax First Realty. Dorothy, big welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate.
Yeah, thank you for coming into the studio on the first Sunday of April.
That's right. The weather warmed up. Everybody get out.
Yeah, the spring market is here. So we wanted to, since you've been in the business for so many years, we wanted to, come in and chat with you, talk about all your experiences in real estate and your current position with ReMax and what you see in the market, the changes and the future. So, so to get started, please share with us your career. Like, you've been in the business, I think it's been a long time. I don't want to say how long, but I mean, you have a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. You were one of Jane speaks so highly of you because you were one of her first mentors. And she really looks up and admires you, and you really took her by the hand. And she remembers even at the first award ceremony that you took her around, introduced her to the whole group of realtors and kind of broke the bread with her and got her feeling really welcomed in the industry.
Absolutely.
Actually, I have many more stories, Ken. We would be here till tonight, 6 p.m.
We could do about a whole week, a whole year's
worth. The stories is how Dorothy helped me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so what attracted you to the industry? How did you get your first start as a realtor?
Actually, my husband recommended that I go into the business. He had his license prior to me getting mine. And in November, I'll be in the business 40 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
When did you start? When you were like 8 years old?
Thank you, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You can pay me later then.
I'll pay you later.
Yes.
Yeah. What was, very interesting to me is having a flexible schedule. When I started, I had 2 toddlers. And, I needed to be able to take care of them in a household and, start my real estate career. I always had an interest in, as my degrees are psychology and education. And I thought that I could really use that toward my clients and my customers, helping them understand what they have to do and guiding them through it.
I totally agree. I mean, Dorothy and I have something common. I started when Maria was 2. Remember that time? Running around the office, Auntie Dorothy by her cupcake and everything else. So the same thing. I had very much interest in real estate as well as the psychology. So even though my major is in the hospitality and the management and the marketing, but a minor is in psychology, I always wondered, right, especially from different background. I always wondered how people think, So that's really help us, doing this job. And another thing I noticed, right, a lot of agents, they are teachers. They have teaching degrees. So that's really, says, right, they have help people to go through the process and holding their hands to, realize their dreams. That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, I really think you have to be a therapist in this field because there's so much emotional, especially in residential. It's an emotional roller coaster because there's ups and downs and there's people, a lot of misperceptions. Like when the seller gets a home inspection request report, they might look at the report without looking at what the attorney wants and say, oh my God, the report is 80 pages. What am I going to do? They want everything under the sun. But you've got to calm them down and just say, well, let's look at what they really want us to do and let's not panic and we can negotiate it. You have to really hold their hand because people are nervous. It's a big asset they're selling. So there's a lot on the table for them,
That's
right?
right. Yes.
And they don't go through it on a day in and day out basis like both you guys do. So there's a lot of emotions involved in the whole process.
And for Dorothy, even more, because for me, I only have to worry about our clients, right? But Dorothy, since my first day started, she voluntarily take on the task of helping the new agent, train the agent, helping us understand. I still remember there was another instance, right? I wouldn't name names here. It's not nice, right? Some agent really give me a hard time. I give them a 4-price cash offer. And there was absolutely no response. So I didn't know what to do. The buyer want to fire me. He said, what's wrong with you? In that market, 2009, really, the market is going down, and I give you a full price cash offer. You don't even get any response. Do they have more offer? What's going on? So I didn't know what to do. I run to mother hen. So I said, what do I do? Dorothy taught me what to say. I literally had to write it down because I couldn't remember all these. So wrote it down what she taught me, and I went to the little meeting room, repeat myself many times, and got my guts together, pick up the phone, spoke to that time top agent, and I was afraid, but because I practice, so I pick up the phone and get that out of my mouth. And you know what? That silence, and then say, yes, you're right, Jane. Let's work together. So that's the first lesson I learned from Dorothy. Yes.
So let's ask Dorothy. So what have been some of your challenges in the real estate career? Like you've gone through, obviously being in the business that long, you've gone through the good times and the economic downturns. And so can you share a little bit with us how you've experienced that and weathered this storm, so to speak?
Sure. I think that the most important thing that I have done and I would suggest to not only new agents, but all agents, is to be very much prepared in how the market is trending at the moment. You're always going to see ups and downs, and the more educated you are about the marketplace, what's coming, what the rules are, what the laws are, and how the changes are coming about, I think, gives you a handle on and a leg up on how to conduct your business.
Yes.
Right. I think that's something that Carl always says too. It doesn't matter if it's a good market, a bad market. If you excel at what you do and you're knowledgeable, you have the skill set and the mindset, or the mindset and the skill set. I think those are the two thematic words that he's used in the past. That'll make you a very successful agent. So it's really, you can succeed in any market. It's just, you can't, if you take the attitude like, oh, there's nothing I can do, there's low inventory, there's 5 bids on the property, I'm always losing. And I'm sure as a trainer, which we're going to get to, I'm sure you have a lot of agents that lean on your shoulders and complain to you that they're losing out on the bids and what can they do, and so it's, you have all that challenges to deal with.
Challenges, yeah. Well, I think the important thing that you have to understand is not to get so afraid of what's happening. Today's the interest rate after the false market and the 3% interest rate. People see it at 6 and they're panicked. Yeah. And I laugh because in the early 80s, I bought a house at 17 5/8. Yeah. And people say, that's ridiculous. But that's what it was.
Yeah, I bought 13%.
Yeah, so in order to move forward and build your wealth, you have to make that step. I always say to the agents, it's like being at a train station. If you're standing against the building and the train is going back and forth and you never get on, you don't go anywhere.
Right.
So all these people that are getting on and off and on and off, they're making a move in their lives, okay? And so make the step forward.
Yes.
Do it and start building your wealth. And guess what? When my husband and I bought our home at 17 5/8, when it came down to 9, we refinanced.
Yeah.
But the people that wait a lengthy amount of time for the interest rate to come down lose so much more equity, because if you look at both sides, the equity that you would have gained in that 5 years that you're waiting for it to come down, it went up $100,000.
Yeah.
So you have to really take advantage of, make up your mind. You want to do it? Move forward. Things will work out.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And, also when the interest go down, more people get in the market, like you said, the price will go up. So, you'll lose out.
Exactly.
So, if you need it, just move forward.
Yeah, look at from 2019 till now, just the post the COVID era, it boosted everything. You could say arguably 25%, 30%.
No, more than that, 30 to 50%.
Depending on the
where
town,
you started,
the region,
what
but
you buy.
just in that short 5-year period now, 2025 to let's say since 2020. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And real estate is a solid investment. It's brick and mortar. It's almost like the stock market. Eventually, if you invest in the Dow S&P 500, it may have its peaks and valleys, but it's going to steadily long-term gain, appreciate.
Absolutely.
So you're getting that mortgage paid off. You're building equity is the idea behind it. So it's
I think it's more than that, Ken, because you're buying stock, right? I mean, it's a stock. Here, you're living there. You don't have to buy stock to leave, but you need a roof over your head.
Correct. So you need and rental doesn't give you any advantage unless you know it's going to be short term and you have to relocate or you're not sure where you want to permanently live. But like you said, with the real estate, there's so many benefits to home ownership besides the fact you're living there. It's appreciating.
Yeah.
The mortgage interest is fully tax deductible on your residence. The property taxes are up to 10K, I think, right now. So there's just so many win-win benefits.
Absolutely.
And it's a capital gain. Then if you do sell it, then it's up to $500,000, $250,000, marital or single for gain. So if you want to sell it and upgrade, so there's a lot of good benefits to
and
home
also
ownership.
Emotional value. You have to. That's really you can't put a dollar sign on that. I mean, the pride ownership. And give your family a home. When you're not doing so well or anything, you had a challenge, you want to run home. That's what I'm sure you and John give to your kids, right?
Absolutely.
So if Maria, anytime she'd run home.
Right.
So, but I could not say that when I was a kid because my mom's a tiger mom. Don't run home. You'll be in trouble.
That's
but for our kid, right?
Absolutely.
You build a safe harbor for them to come. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So for somebody that wanted to get into real estate, what advice would you give to them? Let's say they want to join like ReMax First Realty. Why would that be a good place? Tell us about what makes our brokerage outstanding.
Well, we do have an outstanding brokerage.
Right.
And we have a tremendous broker owner leader. And he displays extreme
vision.
It's a vision, but he looks to build his agents up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. You don't have that in every company.
Yes.
But, the old adage is that, the more you help your agents succeed, the better you do. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
So the company grows and the agents grow, and people come to the company because they want to be surrounded by successful people.
Yes.
We look for agents that are motivated, who can take constructive criticism,
Yes.
who want to, flourish in this business and will, do what they have to do to get there. And I think that new agents, are very lucky to have agents like Jane and yourself around them because being around successful people motivates you to do well.
Yes.
When everybody is sitting around tapping their pencil on the desk, it's not very motivating. But when you hear successful people say, oh, I have a listing, I have an appointment, I have to go, I have to come back. And, and so the people around you say, gee, maybe I should do something. Maybe I should get out there and create my business.
Because the bar keeps getting raised. I know Jane used to feel in a good way. She felt pressure whenever she used to, because all the listings are published on a daily basis. Whenever she saw that the listings coming out, she says, oh, it makes you want to do more. Like I think Carl has a saying that he mentioned at the awards ceremony last week that he has something on his closet hanging that says, I can do more, or I
can do more.
You can always do more. And that's a good motto to have for everybody.
That's a very
because you can always
good motto.
improve yourself and better yourself. And
I have to say, we've been with ReMax First Realty family for 10 years now, right? I think that you are absolutely right. Carl always want to build up the agent. Once again, this is just my personal feeling. I think a lot of other brokerage, the reason they don't want to do that is they're afraid. They feel the fear. If they build up you too much, you're gonna leave. You have more freedom. They basically kind of chop off your wing a little bit. So that's how I feel when I was with I went through, 2 companies. This is my 3rd one and the longest one. People still think I'm working for A or B, but actually I worked ReMax 10 years now, only been in business 16, so go and figure, right? But truly, Carl always put agent interest first.
Yes.
Before himself. Obviously, he always wanted the client's interest is no doubt is the top of the chain.
Absolutely.
But as an owner, you have the client's interest, and after that, you have your own interest versus agent interest. A lot of brokerage believe the agent and the broker is on the opposite side because the more the agent make, the less broker have a make or the split, also the control. So I think that's what I feel since we got to ReMax. We are inspired. And Carl always tried to push us to do better and more. We always can do more. And I still remember, right, one day I want to take a break. Come on, I like to hang out. And Carl called me up and say, "Hey, Jane, are you on vacation?" I said, "No, why?" He said, "Oh, that's odd. I haven't seen you leasing for a couple of weeks. I thought you were on vacation, so I was wondering where did you go?" I said, "Okay."
It's a good way to motivate you, poke you a little.
Yeah, and then I said, all right. I hang up and back to my work.
Yeah.
And that's a few days, the new leasing come up. That's a good broker. So always watch out. If anything, he think we need to learn. Like you guys always bring the training.
The training is outstanding.
Outstanding, the training, because that's something I got the most benefit from you and other seasoned agent at the beginning. The training. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know multiple way to achieve it because your clients have different personality, different preference. So it's not one fits all. You got to know all these tools in your toolbox. So the seasoned agent provide that. Like in ReMax, a lot of top agent, right? Which what I benefit from the first job and second one now is really the agent benefit from ReMax. Because so many agents, if you have a question, you ask a top 5 agent in your mind, you respect, you ask 5 people, you may get all different answers, you may get few the same, few different, and then you will you work out what you think the best.
Yeah, based on your personality and
yes, and the
needs,
client's preference. Yes.
Yeah. All right, why don't we take a short break? We'll be right back after these messages. All right, welcome back to our show. Today we are joined with our guest, Dorothy Bellis, the Compliance Director and Manager of ReMax First Realty, located in East Brunswick, New Jersey. And Dorothy, before I forget, please give your contact number in case any of the listeners out there would like more information about becoming a real estate agent and realtor with ReMax.
Excellent. So my name is Dorothy Bellis, and the number to reach me is 732-257-3500, extension 314. Or you can call directly to that number and just ask for Dorothy Bellis. Okay, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes, absolutely. So let's continue talking about training. What does your typical day look like at ReMax? I know you do a lot of training yourself. Carl does a lot of training. Other agents, like Jane was mentioning, come in for special guest panels where they share their experiences and what works for them in the industry. So tell us about your day, because you have to manage the compliance aspect with all the dot loop and all that stuff with the agent, helping with the agents.
Correct.
Issues and training. So
right. So a typical day, no day is the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day is different. And I basically work alongside the agents, going through their contracts, helping them negotiate, making sure that they understand the legal aspect of real estate. There's a lot of compliance questions. And, it's important for them to be able to get through their day, get through their own questions. Even seasoned agents will call and ask, some advice. So we do that. We do, a lot of training during the week. I have an Insights with Dorothy on Tuesdays from 1 to 2, where we discuss, compliance issues in the field, concerns in the field, and always bringing new information. As we've invited Jane to give her expertise. Agents like to hear from successful agents and how they do something. Maybe it's they do the same thing with a different twist. So it's always good to have a variety of the same thing, and it's like eating steak. But you might like it fried, you might like it rare, you might like, so you get a sort of a menu of different choices on how to proceed during the day and how to do it differently, but it's still the same.
Right, because I guess being a realtor, there's a lot of different methods you can use. Some people you could do cold calling, you could do door to door, you could rely on past referrals. You could, there's all different ways. There's so many different marketing strategies. So different things work for different folks.
But you have to make sure you comply with the new regulation, such as knock on doors, cold
that's
call.
true. You have
There's
to
a
need a
lot of
permit now for that,
compliance,
right.
to do. And even though the marketing, how you're going to, put out the marketing, what you have to do, there's a lot of rules and regulations.
Right. Well, that's why Dorothy.
So Dorothy is, make sure, especially for the new agents, right? It's always good to know, what's the requirements are. So otherwise you get fined. So yeah.
Right, and it's always good for the newer agents to show what they're doing, whether it's a mailer card or a flyer, or just discuss what exactly are you going to do, because what they may think is not a big deal could be stepping on someone's toes or just doing something.
Or copyright or
copywriting,
something.
right, and that does happen. People ask, oh, can I use the pictures from the last listing? No, you can't.
No, you
Right.
can't.
You have to have your own. Those are, those belong to that person.
Yeah.
And there's many little questions, and it's like, ingredients to a recipe. There's so many little things, to do to make it work. And that's what we do on a daily basis.
Wow.
Yeah. Dorothy has been in the business, so many years, and you were
the president also of
right?
the Middlesex County Association of
yes,
Realtors, right? So
yes.
we should mention that's, for how many
and
years?
Well, there are 2 years, sessions,
That's
so
a big,
2 years. But I've been with the board for about 25 years.
Wow.
As a director, as a committee member, on many committees, and then, stepping into the leadership role as secretary-treasurer, and then vice president, and then president, and then national director. So it takes 2 years for each of those to go through.
Wow.
It's very exciting. It's you gain a lot of knowledge and experience going through the leadership roles, and it's also something I could bring to the table to share with the agents that I work with.
And you were the Realtor of the Year.
I was the Realtor of the Year
I
also.
remembered.
Yes.
And Dorothy used to, I remember Dorothy used to take us to go to ShopRite to get the food pantry. And she lead us to go to shelter to work one day a long time ago, and she always there to helping everyone.
Yeah.
And that's, you have a heart made of gold.
Right.
And it set up such a good, example, inspired us.
Right.
That's like we learn. I learned so much from you. I was just
appreciate that.
ever grateful.
And giving back to the
Yeah.
community,
Giving back.
like ReMax does with the Children's Miracle Network, and how we
Absolutely.
raised I think like 25,000 last
Yes,
year,
yes.
and now the goal, the
We have
bar
a
is set
bigger
much
goal.
higher,
Yeah, bigger
a lot
goal.
higher.
We have a
right?
bigger goal.
And we have a fundraiser for that coming up in
Right.
November. So there's a lot of good things in the works.
Absolutely. But you
like-
have to remember, we look to the marketplace to do our business. We have to understand that we have to give back to that
yes.
marketplace.
Yeah.
Help, whether it's the Children's Hospital or, when I was president, we had a choice of a charity. Mine was Bears for Children with Cancer at Robert Wood. And there were at that time 100
I remember.
inpatient and 100 outpatient. And we would collect about 200 bears.
I remember I have to go and buy a bear.
Yeah, and they had to be new ones too.
They
because
had to
because
be
of the
new,
allergy
of
sensitivity.
course.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just that these children are going through such hard times,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just that little bit of comfort,
Yes.
and if you're ever in the midst of these children, your heart breaks.
Yes.
And
you just want to fix
you
everything.
would appreciate life so much more.
You
You go to one of the hospitals and you see and then you're thankful for everything. You're not
For everything.
no petty things about being delayed by a traffic jam or
Yes,
or
it's
having somebody
raining,
or the day isn't good or it's cold or it's
Yes.
it's not
We
sunny.
complain a lot, but-
Or a contract get canceled.
Right, then it's
so
all,
that's nothing compared, once you appreciate more.
Right, but a lot of times you have to remember that there are some people that can't even get out of bed.
Yes,
that's
So, we have to be very thankful, and we have to just, look at with a positive
It's a blessing
eye.
to be able to go out
Yes.
there and service the clients. That's
Yes.
really a true blessing. Well, we are almost out of time. And once again, Dorothy, thank you so much for being our guest today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. And please share with the listeners your phone number again.
Okay, the phone number to reach me would be 732-257-3500, extension 314.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye now.
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.